He kind of minimalized it a little bit and apologized.
But there was one time that Nilo had bought him, Gary, one of the most beautiful jackets. Gary's so proud of it, and Nilo got mad about something, and he ripped that jacket all to pieces. Gary never said a word about it. It couldn't be mended. I tried to mend it. It couldn't be mended.
Did Gary have pets? Did he have pets? Dog or cat? Or?
We had one most of the time. I say most of the time. We had a Dalmatian and a little Chihuahua. Not the whole time, because traveling it was hard to have them.
Did Gary take care of the dog, or?
Oh yeah, he would take him out trick or treating and dress him up in a scarf and paint his face and everything.
How would he paint his face?
He would take a lipstick and make a circle around his eye.
Like the Little Rascals?
Yeah. And put a scarf around his neck. He'd put on one outfit. He'd say, "Now go show Mama." And the dog come prancing in there and show me. Then he'd run back. Gary'd do something else. "Now go show Mama." He'd go back again.
Was he ever with the dogs? Was he ever really strict with them? Was he strict with the dogs?
My husband?
No, Gary.
No. He just loved him all the time, and the dog would sit in his lap if he could.
Okay.
Any other pets or anything like that you can remember?
No.
What about the horses? Did Gary like the horses more than he liked the dogs?
I don't know that he would like them more because he could pet the dog. But those horses would just knock him around and everything. He never made a move. He just kept going.
Always kept trying with them?
Anytime they'd run, "No, it's getting away, it's getting away." I was scared to death of it.
Did that dog or the dogs that y'all had, did that go everywhere with him? With Gary, when he would go out, like, to play and things like that, did he take the dog?
Gary didn't go out like that. He went to school, and then he stayed around the house, and there's always kids of some place, because we lived in apartments all the time. We was traveling, and he would play with the kids, but he never did go out anywhere, because Gary went into service when he was barely 17.
When did you guys start traveling? Right when Gary was 9 years old?
Very shortly afterwards.
And how was that like? Did you guys stay in one town for a little bit? Or?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 months, and then go to another one.
How long did you do that traveling?
Until Gary got in the 6th grade, and then I quit traveling because he was getting in a higher grade of school. But every time he would change schools, the new teacher would try to promote him up a grade because he read so much, and every teacher said that he did good work, but he could do better. But they wanted to promote him. I think they wanted to move him up about 3 grades when he was in the 7th grade, up to the 12th grade. But I wouldn't do it because traveling, the next school could put him down again, and that would be bad.
Yeah.
Where did you guys go during that time?
The traveling?
Yes, ma'am.
Just about every state in the Union.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Went to Illinois, out from Cleveland. There's 3 tracks right there together, so we stayed there quite a while.
So, but was there like a region that you stayed in, or?
Usually stayed close to the track.
No, I mean, as far as like, did you stay in the southeast, or?
Mostly the east.
Mostly the
You're
east.
recording this?
Just, yes, ma'am, for my
You
notes.
didn't tell me you was recording it.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, if that's, is that an issue, or?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that a problem, ma'am?
You know, I'm still doubtful about.
Do you need to see the badge, ma'am, or
Beg your pardon?
do you want to look at our badges too? Would that help? There you go.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
It's not anything that. This is for our notes, ma'am. I mean, and I can turn it off.
I'm just so scared of getting
The press,
publicity.
ma'am. It's in our best interest, and I'm not telling you you can't talk to the press, but I usually prefer that you don't.
But none of this will be released to the press.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Because
This is kept in what's called a GBI file, and then in his files, it's not stuff that's going to be publicly.
I moved here because my husband passed away after being paralyzed for almost 5 years. As soon as I got here, within 2 months, the cancer started, and so I've not met any friends, and I hate to have all this publicity come up and embarrass him and his family.
Ma'am, we don't speak to. My agency has a clause where I'm not allowed to talk to the press at all. Like, I'm not even allowed to have a relationship with the press. I mean, if it was my neighbor, it would be one thing, but I can't. If I told them any information, I can be fired for it. So it's not. And I don't make a practice of speaking to the press anyway. I was in the Army in my last job, and a reporter got me in trouble one time when I was trying to be nice to her.
The defender told me not to talk to anyone, but she's out of the state, and nobody in her office answers. I've left a message for her.
Do you know the public defender?
I know one of them.
Which state?
For Georgia. I don't know any other state.
Georgia.
Where's she
Yeah.
from?
I believe she's from. I believe she's from Florida. I believe
Florida.
it is.
Because there could be several different public defenders.
And one of them in the office is Rob McNeil, and the other one, his last name is Souer.
What's that again, ma'am?
I may have this a little bit wrong, but it's Souer.
Okay. I don't think I know him.
But nobody answers.
What number were you calling? Or were you calling to Florida?
850.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
That's Florida.
Yeah, we don't. We usually prefer that. I mean, and like I said, I cannot tell you not to talk to the press, but it makes our life a lot easier when, there's
How
not.
do you feel about her talking to the public defender?
That's fine. No, I wouldn't tell you not to do. The only reason why we don't like people to talk to the press is a lot of times we don't want you, and unless you want this, but to walk out and there be like cameras and stuff like that and that sort of thing. We don't generally.
With no hair.
It's like a situation where I would never want to put you in a position where we need to talk because of Gary and everything like this, but I don't want to put you in a position where you have to make a decision. If you want to talk to the press, then you should call them. I shouldn't have anything to do with that. You know what I mean?
I just want to do anything that will help Gary, because I really believe this only started after September.
After Mr. Tabor?
Yeah.
We'll get to that, but we were talking about the traveling. You said you mainly stuck to the East Coast. Was there a place that Gary liked more than other places? Like a state or...
He hated Toledo worse than any of them.
I know what he means. I hate Toledo too. So, did not like Toledo?
No.
How old was he when he was in Toledo?
That was the first one we went to. So that was shortly after we married. We married in 55.
Did he say why he hated it? Why did Gary hate that more?
For one thing, it was cold, and we'd come from Florida, never had cold weather because Atlanta never did get that cold, And in the school, the teacher would say, ask the kids a question, and Gary said he knew it was completely wrong, and said the teacher was like afraid of the kids. Would say, that's right. And Gary couldn't stand it because he knew it was wrong.
Smart kid. Is there a place that he liked that you can remember that you guys traveled to that he was really happy at?
He liked every one of them except Toledo.
Did you guys stay in a city environment, or was it more like a rural type?
More like a little village, I guess you'd say. They would mainly rent to the horse people, so they would really gouge them. But my husband would have to go at 5 o'clock in the morning and come back, and then go back again at 10 o'clock and give the horses lunch, and then come back, dress again, go back for the races, then come back, and then go back again after dinner and water the horses and see that everything was all right with them.
Did Gary ever ride the horses in the races or anything like that?
Not in the races. You have to be a trained jockey.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
But were these racetracks, were they in cities, or was it more of like a wooded, like smaller town type environment?
Have you ever been to a Hialeah or any of those places?
No, ma'am.
Oh, never been to one. Well, like Hialeah has that beautiful track, but it fits in the city of Hialeah, almost downtown, and yet all the houses and apartments around that, mostly apartments, are held for the horse people.
Oh, okay.
Because they can get any amount of money they want to, you know.
How was Gary schooled at this time? Like, did he go to? Was there like for the people that had to travel for the horse races? Was there like a?
No, he went to a regular school,
For just 4 months, and then he'd move again.
No, it'd be 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all would be living in the apartment, and he would go to school while y'all were working on the horses and things like that, and doing the races, and then he'd come home.
Yeah.
Did he go to daycare or anything?
No, because I wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
And I would be there for him.
How did he seem as far as when he started traveling and he was moving so much? Did he like that, or did he say either way?
He looked forward to the traveling.
Did he?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like he missed a lot not having close friends, but when I did quit traveling when I think the 6th grade, well, he made close buddies there.
In the 6th grade is when you guys stopped, and then where did you guys settle down?
In Hialeah.
Where's that at, ma'am?
Hialeah is just out of Miami.
Okay.
More or less like a suburb of Atlanta, Miami.
Can you spell that for me?
Hileah.
H-I-A.
H-I-A?
That's right, Hiya.
Hialeah.
And you said he started to have regular friends at that point. Like he started to go to school in Hialeah?
Oh, yeah. He was in junior high.
How did he seem as far as, did he get along with the other kids there, or?
Apparently he did. I never got any thing except good reports from the teacher. And he never stayed for after school activities. I don't know if they had them for his age or not.
Did he play any sports or anything like that?
No, because he had a hand broken all the way across here.
Oh, how did that happen?
And it was, the doctor said to be careful of it.
How did he break his hand?
Fell out of a tree.
I broke my leg doing the same thing. When did he break his hand?
Must have been about 9 years old. When he was about the same age, I think it's just before he broke his hand, I came down to Florida ahead of my husband to get us an apartment and get Gary started in school. This was in Tampa. And the apartment I rented had a bed in one of the rooms, and I didn't want the bed in that room, but it was bolted to the floor. So I had heard a sick person had lived there, and I didn't want the bed there anyhow.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
sick one. So when I'd taken the bed down, I couldn't get the bolts out from under the bed. So I asked Gary to crawl up under the bed and take the bolts loose. It was a folding bed, that Murphy bed that goes up in the wall.
Yes, ma'am.
Collapsed on him and just took the back of his scalp off, completely off like that.
Oh my goodness.
And I got the neighbor to drive us to the hospital. Well, he stayed in the hospital a while. They took over 200 stitches, but doctor had to ask me to take him out, that he was so active they were worried what he was going to do to his head.
So active as far as running around?
Jumping around in the bed and getting up and playing and everything.
But did he, how would Gary, like, show when he was upset? Was he was he a rambunctious child, or was he?
Not really. He's very quiet.
Did he cry a lot, or?
No, hardly ever cried.
Really? Quiet? And that sounds like a dream child right there.
He was a good child. Really a good child.
About that time frame, can you remember, you told me about his hand and hurting his head. Was there any other injuries you can remember?
I don't know, but he sit all night with that hand broken and hurting, telling me it wasn't hurting. And the next morning, because when I looked at it when I went to bed, it wasn't red or so. Next morning it was swollen up so big, there's no doubt about it, it was broken.
Was it his right hand, do you remember? Or is
Yeah.
it right hand?
He's left-handed though.
How did he react when cutting his head like that really bad?
All the way to the hospital, he'd say, "Can you see my brain? Can you see my brain?" But it seemed like he just didn't act like there's anything wrong at all.
Was Gary did he express love with you? Like, as far as would he tell you he loved you, and did he like to hug you and things like that, or was he kind of?
He wasn't very demonstrative like that because I think he felt my husband was jealous.
Prior to that?
But prior to that, he didn't either. But it's just he and I, we were close, very close, you know.
Would he kind of tell you if there was like a kid in the neighborhood that he didn't like, or anything like that, or did he just kind of keep?
I think he would have just avoided him.
Okay, so he wasn't like, "Mom, I like this person,
No.
and I don't like this person."
Uh-uh.
Okay. Did he, when you guys settled down in the 6th grade, did he kind of seem like he was comfortable at that point, or did he miss traveling, or did he like being in one?
I think he enjoyed the traveling. I don't know that he really missed it, but I think he really enjoyed the traveling. You know, has been hiking all over out west and everywhere, because he sent me, I don't know, a stack like this of pictures that he made, he and his dog, and a pickup truck all over the mountains out there.
Can we look at those? Would that be all right?
You know, when I left Florida, I had to get rid of stuff to come into a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
I got rid of all the duplicates, and I just kept like one that was representative, because I had so many pictures and things to keep.
Yes, ma'am. Can we look at it later on? Would that be okay? If that's all right with you.
Okay.
So he's in the 6th grade, and how is he like through junior high?
The teacher always said that he would finish his work early, and then he would disrupt the class because he wouldn't sit there quietly.
He sounds like me.
Yeah. when he was in the daycare in Atlanta, all the kids would be asleep. The teacher would leave the room to go have lunch. She thought everybody was asleep on the little cots. She came back, and Gary would do things like gather all the kids' stockings and wash them in the commode. Things like that.
How did he disrupt class? When she would say he would disrupt, just talking to people, or would he throw things like I did?
Just talking, making them laugh. When he went in the army, they made him drummer because he played the drums. They'd go on a march, and Gary'd be drumming them along, and then he'd break out in, "You ain't nothing but a hound dog." The sergeant didn't much like it. Make him get down and do push-ups.
He does sound like me. But he would just make jokes and things like that that everybody would laugh at. I know I did this when I was a kid. I was very much like Gary. I would run my mouth and make people laugh. But I occasionally got into fights and things like all boys do. Did he ever do that, or did he not?
I don't know of any fights he had. He did have one after he was in Atlanta. after he must have been in his 30s. But in his 30s, he was like a 20-year-old. But anyhow, he was selling books or magazine books from door to door. Mm-hmm. And people wouldn't pay him. So he told them to pay him. They said, "Well, send their sample books back." And he said, "No, you pay me first." So Gary wouldn't send the books back. That was all that was said. But Gary rented another apartment, and a new guy rented the next day. I don't remember what Gary said caused it, but they got into a fight. Well, somebody called the police. Well, Gary had a warrant out for his arrest for those books. So they put him in jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as a kid, though, do you remember him?
No.
Just wrestling matches like boys do sometimes, stuff like that?
No, I never had a black eye or nothing like that.
In junior high, did he ever go to any dances with girls, things like that?
Yeah. He had one special girl, and her name was Sandy. That's all I remember.
This is during junior high?
Yeah. Junior high.
Was she his same age, or was she older or younger? Or...
The girl?
Yes, ma'am.
They're about the same age. I think they're in the same grade, but different rooms.
You need this? Oh, I saw that it was wadded up.
They wad up because they're so little.
Yep.
Sandy was her name, ma'am, you think? Sandy?
Sandy's all I remember.
What was his relationship with her like?
He seemed to like her very much, and she seemed to like him.
Did they date for a long time?
No, they didn't really date. They
just friends.
Would, after school, they would meet and I think walk home. She lived in Miami Springs, and we lived in Miami Springs, suburb of Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
But she lived across a canal, so she lived quite a few blocks farther away than he did.
Did you guys move from Hialeah to Atlanta?
When we came back to Atlanta,
yes, ma'am.
Never moved back to Atlanta. Gary went to Atlanta after he came back from service.
Oh, okay.
And his wife divorced him. He lived right around the corner from us. We could walk through our backyard and be in his front door.
Oh, that's nice.
They moved there behind us, and they divorced. One day they're at the races, all hugged and kissing. Next day, we're separating. Never any fighting or nothing. Well, I didn't know until years later. I would ask him what was wrong. He said we just couldn't get along. We just didn't want to live together. She was a drug pusher, and I didn't know it.
Oh my goodness. As far as, but during junior high, you guys were still in Florida, near Miami.
Yes.
So did he date any? Can you remember him hanging out with girls or anything like that?
No, he was pretty young, about 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he go to high school down there?
In Hialeah.
Okay.
Because by then we had gotten a house and we had moved to Hialeah.
What was he like in high school? I know that I was kind of rambunctious when I went to high school because, boys are going through their, puberty and stuff like that. Was that how he was, or was he just,
He must have been pretty quiet because he was playing the drums and he would practice after school with the other boys and the drums. And in about the last month of his senior year, he dropped out to play in his drums in a nightclub. And I wouldn't sign for him to drop out. And the principal finally wrote me and told me I might as well, because he was going to keep on until they suspended him and said that would look bad. So I let him drop out. And he promised he would get his GED, but he didn't get it until he went in the Army, and then he finished it. And then after he came out, he was working 2 jobs and going to college in the daytime too.
So did he like playing music in the nightclub, or?
Oh yeah, but as soon as they found out how old he was, because he was 15 or 16, I guess it's 16, they wouldn't let him play anymore.
So, and this is still in Florida, this nightclub, right? The nightclub is in Miami, or?
Miami Beach, yeah. And we lived in Hialeah.